Hi. Alright, so what I'm going to go over today is your perimeter area and volume activity. So you're going to get a sheet that looks like this and a sheet that looks like this. Okay? The first set of directions says use scissors to cut out the figure and cut around the outside, not on the dotted line. So when you look in your figure here, you're going to cut around the outside and not on these dotted lines. So you should get something that looks like this. Alright. The next step says how many different sides does a figure have? I'm not asking how many different physical sides there are to this, but I'm asking you to think if this was put together, how many sides is that figure going to have? Alright, so not physical here, but once it's all together, how many will it have? Put your answer on the line there. Then it's asking you what shapes are each of these sides. They're all the same shape, but they're not all the same size, but there are some pairs, so be aware of that. So that kind of answers the next one for you. Then it says, how would you find the perimeter of each of the sides? So A here is going to be a side. How would we find the perimeter? Talked about this when we were in class today, so I want you to think hard. Remember, perimeters around. So what do we do with all those sides? We add them, okay? So in our figure here, if you'll look at this one, you're only given this side up here, but with everything else given in here, you can figure out what the other three sides are, and you can do the same with all your other missing pieces. So I'll help you find A, and then I'll leave you to do the rest. So these are rectangles, so we know that this side and this side have to be the same length by definition of what a rectangle is. So if this is 3.5 inches, this is going to be 3.5 inches. Okay? Now, we got to figure out what these are. But there's nothing next to them for me to figure it out, but I'm going to look around, find something that's going to help me. I have 2 here, but this is obviously way bigger than this, so it's not going to be 2. So my other option is 1. Alright, well this side's 1, which means this side is 1. And if we look at our cutout, once we put this together, that's one side B and side A are going to fit together and be the same size. So if this is 1, this side also has to be 1, which then makes this side 1. So to find the perimeter of A, I would take 3.5 plus 1 plus 3.5 plus 1 again, get my answer, and I would write it right here. So whatever I get, and those were in inches. Okay? So that's how we find the perimeter. You got to do that for the rest of those boxes. And then number 7 says describe in your own words what perimeter means. I can't tell you how to do that. That's your own words. Next talks about area. Okay, so this time we're talking about the space inside of here. So not around, but what's filling in it. So if we think back to the notes I gave you today, we're going to do multiplication with what 2 things? We're going to take the length, let's see if I can write upside down, length times width will give me area. So in here, it doesn't matter which side is length and which side is width. We just got to have one of these be each different number, okay? So let's say our length was 3.5 and our width was 1, so we take 3.5 times 1, which is 3.5. So we go down here to A, and we would write 3.5. And their units were inches again, but this time since we're looking for area, they're squared, and I think this is a correct 2. I'm sorry, I'm writing upside down. Alright, so then you'll finish the rest of those for that section, and then we can move on to the back, which then asks you to put it all together first before we go into volume. So you should, once you put it together, it may be a little difficult to tape. I'm not asking for perfection. As you can see, mine's a little funky, but do your best, please. And then it's going to ask you to find the volume of this whole shape as one piece. So before you were finding each side individually, now we're looking for just one answer, the volume. Okay? So by now you should have all your edges labeled with a length. So what we need to do is we need to figure out how we can use those to find out what the volume is. So number 13 here is asking you for what the formula is. So in area, we found length times width for the area. It's going to be really similar to that. So we had length times width before. We took this times this. But now we got to get this last piece in here. So it'd be length times width times height. Okay, so for the volume, it's going to be length times 10 width times height. Alright? And I asked you to fill out those here. So tell me what the length is, tell me what the width is, tell me what the height is. You're going to multiply them all together, put your answer here, and then you will describe in your own words what the volume means. Again, can't do that for you. And I did skip a couple of questions up here, but I have faith that you can do that on your own. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial.